Hi, Bhupen, bye.
Hello. Hi.
Good evening, everybody.
I
I am checking to see if all of you can hear me clearly. I'd appreciate if you could just indicate to Pooja Kaur if you can hear us clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's clear.
Right, thank you. So a very warm welcome to all the students and parents who've made time to join us this afternoon. This is actually a very different sort of year for students to be coming out of school. Some of you have finished your exams. Others have a few papers left. Many of you do not yet have your results in hand. And so we thought it would be a good time for you to really interact with some of the people who shape policy at Ahmedabad University. And for us to tell you that while it may look like a tough year, there are a lot of support systems in place. And hopefully you will soon be in exactly where you want to be, the university, the program of your choice. I'm delighted to have with us this afternoon Dr. Pankaj Chandra, Vice Chancellor of Ahmedabad University. He is really the architect behind all the policies that we shape, which all keep your interests firmly at heart. Our registrar, Shri B.M. Shah, is with us this afternoon. And he comes not only in his capacity as the registrar here, but also as a representative of the Ahmedabad Education Society, which is, as you all know, known for its governance in terms of educational institutions. We have 3 schools at Ahmedabad University, and I'm delighted that deans and associate deans from these areas are with us today. We have Dr. Patrick French, the Dean of Arts and Sciences. Perhaps you can all see him on your screen. We have Dr. Parag Patel and Dr. Devanath Tirupati, who handle the Amrut Modi School of Management, and Dr. Sanjay Chaudhary from the School of Engineering and Applied Science. So as you can see, pretty much all the people who will really touch and impact your life at university are here. Do feel free to ask us questions, but at the end of the address, questions may be sent by chat either to Dr. Chandra directly or to Mr. B.M. Shah. They will be picking the 5 or 6 most significant questions that they see and taking those up. These are questions that many of you have, and they will answer them. After that, we would have breakout sessions based on your area of interest. So Dr. Patrick French would be available in a separate meeting, which is for the School of Arts and Sciences. Dr. Sanjay Chaudhary will take questions around engineering and applied science. And Dr. Parag Patel and Dr. Devanath Tirupati will remain in this room to take queries from those of you who are interested in management. I hope my voice is coming across clearly. I see a couple of messages which say that my voice may be breaking. I trust you heard most of the announcement. I will try and repeat it just as we close, as we go along. Meanwhile, I'm going to hand over to Dr. Pankaj Chandra. Dr. Pankaj Chandra is a doctorate from the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania. He returned from his stint abroad to teach at the IIM Ahmedabad before going on to become the director of IIM Bangalore. He moved to Ahmedabad with the intent to create an education that is exceptional in quality and also is oriented to the key stakeholder in education, the student. Dr. Chandra, over to you.
Thank you very much, Hansa, and good evening to all of you. Thank you very much for taking time this evening to come by and engage with us. Again, in normal circumstances, we would be meeting physically, either in different cities of the country. We would be seeing you, having tea with you, chatting with you and answering these questions, but these are unprecedented times. And I want to start by telling you one thing which is very clear in our mind, and this is for the students. We understand what you're going through. We understand that this is a very tough year for you. This is a very challenging year. And what you may have been going through in this fits and start of when an exam will happen, when a result will come out, and it can unnerve anyone. But I think we understand. And we are working to make sure that you join a university of your choice in as seamless a manner as possible. And I'm not speaking for Ahmedabad University alone, but I know many of my colleagues from many other universities are working very hard to ensure that you don't face challenges and your dreams of joining the kind of institution that you want to join really comes through. So keep that at the back of your mind, that we are with you. And much of our thinking going forward and things that we've been working for last almost 3 months have been keeping you in mind and keeping this perspective what you might be struggling with. Maybe we can I request everyone else to just mute so that there's less noise, background noise, so everyone else can listen carefully. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about three things today. One is a little bit about Ahmedabad University. I want to tell you what is Ahmedabad University education. And you can then figure out whether this kind of education is for you, it suits you, or maybe there's some other place that suits you best. The second thing that I want to talk to you is about the pandemic itself. How is it changing education? What is likely to happen when you join the university? Or at least what is it that we are working towards to make sure that the implications of the pandemic are become very contextual in a learning environment. And the third thing that I want to talk to you is to share with you the kind of plans that we have drawn out at Ahmedabad University in terms of what will happen come August, and what is it that we're going to do as the new session begins. So let me talk about these three broad things. I must say a sentence or two about the Ahmedabad Education Society, which is the trust that has set up Ahmedabad University. And some of you may already know about it. Some of you may have looked at it on our website, but it's a very unusual foundation that has been responsible, or people in there have been responsible for setting up of India's finest educational institution, like IIM Ahmedabad, National Institute of Design, CEPT, Physical Research Laboratory, and so on and so forth. And Ahmedabad University is the most ambitious project of this trust to set up the 21st century liberal arts driven research university in Ahmedabad. And it is a very unusual proposition. It's not a very straightforward proposition to do what we're trying to do. There are many institutions in the country and many new ones who are liberal arts colleges. They'll do humanities and social sciences. Some will do management. Some will do something else. There are many others who are not liberal arts education oriented, and I'll explain what that means. Might be just focused quite deep into a disciplinary area. And this is where an Ahmedabad education turns out to be very different. We are a multidisciplinary university. We're a university that has management, that has engineering, that has sciences, that has humanities, and that has social sciences. And our world is spanning across different disciplines of these big areas in schools. So first and foremost, our basic premise is driven around merit and global standards of learning. What is it that our students must learn to become not only locally very, very adept and skillful and build a perspective of becoming better citizens, but how do they become global in their own mindsets and in their own perspectives? And there are 5 things that I want to point to you about Ahmedabad education. One, it is very broad and deep. Now, this is also not something not necessarily very new as a concept, but the way we execute it is very different. And breadth to essentially build a broad perspective in your mind on how you see this world. Imagine for a moment, this pandemic happens. I think almost everybody in the country has, for one reason or other, started to understand what a virus is, irrespective of what your discipline is. Whether you are a student of history or a student of math or a student of business studies you now get to know what a virus is, and you get to know its implications. And what it does is it allows you to really interweave much of what is happening around you in the context of your own disciplines, of your own interest, of your own areas of inquiry. And that makes you much richer. That's broad education. Broad education is about trying to figure out what else is happening around you. What are other things that impact me? What are other areas that impact my own way of thinking? What are other disciplines? What are other developments? What are other innovations that are happening that will make me deep and better in what I do? It's not to make you less of a physicist if you're wanting to study physics, but it's about there to make you better physicist so that you can relate to the world in slightly better way than what you would do otherwise. And we execute it very differently. We execute it through our signature foundation program. It's a very unusual common core that exists, which is very thematic in its orientation. I don't know if you guys have been reading newspapers over the last couple of weeks, but there was a news item that came out a few weeks ago about Finland. You know, Finnish schools are probably the best in OECD countries and around the world through the PISA rankings and ratings that they do, whatever its value. And they've transformed over the last 20 years their school education. So they've made a choice and they've made a decision that starting this September, when the kids come back to school from grade 1 to grade 12, they're not going to teach subjects. They're not going to teach history. They're not going to teach physics. They're not going to teach math. They're not going to teach geography. They're not going to teach business studies. They're actually going to teach you phenomena. They're going to teach you Second World War, European Union, mountains, oceans. Now, it's a very interesting way of looking at things because it's not that they're not going to teach you those disciplines, but actually they're going to teach you through those phenomena. And what it does is, in addition to you enjoying and understanding the concepts of trigonometry around it, you actually get to do it in the context of an application. And there's nothing better than that to learning if you start to look at what you do in your classroom in that particular context. And it's a very unusual way of doing it for school education. But what I want to tell you is, since 2019, Ahmedabad University's signature program actually exactly does that. Our foundation program is built around 6 domains, which everybody comes to study, irrespective of what you're going to specialize in. Whether you come here for mechanical engineering, or you come here to study organization behavior, or you come here to study history or music, you have to engage with 6 domains. And these are very interesting 6 domains. These are data science, communication, 2 areas of skills, 2 areas that build perspectives, behavior, individual behavior and group behavior, constitution and civilization. Where is it that we all are coming? What is the crossroad at which other constitutions and civilizations of the world meet us? And then the 2 very interesting areas of innovation around the world today, biology and life. This is the century of biology, and new materials. But we don't teach these 6 domains as subjects. We actually do them through studios. So you come to Ahmedabad University and you spend a month in each of the 4 studios, which are 4 challenges that this world is facing. Okay, and we've picked 4, but you know, next year we might pick some other 4. But these years it is water, climate change, and environment, democracy and justice, and neighborhoods, which is a proxy for urbanization. And it's through water and through climate change and environment and through other studios We teach data science, we teach communication, we teach behavior, we teach constitution and civilization, biology and new materials. That is a very different way. Now, why do we do that? What is the reason for us to be able to do it? We worked for about 4 years to put a foundation program together in this very eclectic manner. Because complex problems don't come defined in a discipline. You may have studied physics, and you may have studied math, and you may have studied history, and you may have studied psychology in your class 12, but the world's problem don't come defined in that manner. They come defined as pandemic. They come defined as coronavirus. And it's up to us to figure out how do we use our disciplinary knowledge and combine and merge with those of others. How do we connect with very different disciplines to essentially be able to solve the challenges that it has thrown on us? You know, today it's impossible for just the biologists to essentially go and solve this current problem. Very difficult for any public health official to be able to go and resolve this challenge, or a medical official. It requires social scientists. It'll require mathematicians who will model its spread. It will require physicists that will understand its flow. It'll require managerial managers who will essentially understand what is the implication of all of this on the economy and what do we do about it. That is what an education of the future is about. You know, when the world is very complex and the world is very uncertain, as it is going to be from now onwards, we don't know when we come out of the other side of this darkness, how the world would have changed. What would business look like? What would a research lab be able to do? What kind of compliances should we follow? And so on and so forth. Now, in such situations, one has to ask the question, so what should I learn? And wisdom says that when uncertainty is very high, you go broad. You try to cover many skills and build many perspectives because you don't know which one of them you will require and need to actually manage the uncertain world. And that's exactly what our education is about at Ahmedabad. It's interdisciplinary, very strongly interdisciplinary. You'll get to see people from a historian and a business economist coming together to teach a course together. You will get a biologist and a mathematician coming to teach a course together, because that's how you address really complex challenges that you face, because they are complex. They are wicked problems that the society has posed to us. And we need to find as many skills and as many perspectives as possible. Our education is also very hands-on. If you are a person who enjoys doing, who's field-oriented, who wants to make things, then it's a great place to be in. Because much of our education actually is very experiential in nature. We are also, at the end of the day, very academically rigorous. With this absolutely flexible credit-based system. So you choose the pathway that you want to have for studying. Somebody who comes to do psychology and is interested in counseling will have a very different pathway of the courses and the sequence in which they'll take them, vis-a-vis someone else who comes to do a BA in psychology, but actually wants to do social psychology or industrial. They'll choose a pathway which is very different. And that's what customized education in this flexible environment is all about. So we are very different. We are also very diverse. And I must point this to you, those of you interested in newer institutions of this country. You know, one of the things that we pride and take very seriously is respect for others' views. We agree to disagree, but we engage. This is not a place where we come with our own worldview and we want to stay with it. We come with our own worldview, but we want to influence others by our worldview and get influenced by them. And it's that diversity of thoughts, diversity of urban and rural, diversity of different parts of the country, diversity of kind of backgrounds that people have had, and upbringing that people may have. And we like it that way. We don't want to be a homogeneous institution of people coming from one segment of the society. We think we bring in students, and our education provides them with an ability. When they go out, they become educated elites. They don't come in as elite. So we are very diverse in many, many interesting kind of ways. Now, what is it that this pandemic is doing to education? Let me take this on a little bit for the next 5 or 6 minutes and share with you what is happening. And I'm now speaking for myself, and I'm speaking for many other colleagues of mine with whom we engage. This pandemic has brought in fear, enormous amount of fear in all of us. We don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what will happen to us if the guy who comes into our house, whether this person carries a virus or not. And this fear is very traumatic. This fear of being by yourself, this fear of not being able to see people, not being able to meet. I mean, first time I started to think what a prison might be and what a prisoner might be feeling, after going through experiences. And I'm quite sure all of you must be having a similar kind of feeling in various shades of it. It also is telling us that society is about interdependence. For the first time, we find that we're not really very independent. We are very interdependent on the larger community. And it is the solidarity of this community that is going to be important in bringing all of us out. It's also destroying the trust, because not for any other reason, but we don't know whether the guy standing behind me in a queue coughs and whether this is going to actually give me the virus. These are very real challenges that all of us are faced with. And it's telling us structurally we need to change. And it's also telling us that despite everything else, India is a very poor country. Despite whatever we may say, economically and socially, we have very long ways to go. So what does an education do in these times? What should an education do? I think first thing that education must do, and we will try to do that, is freedom from fear. It's very, very important for all of us to work to be free from this fear. It's not a very easy way, an easy thing to do, but I think collectively it's very important for an academic community to do that. Second is to also understand what is happening around us at this particular juncture. We were running our foundation studio in March when this lockdown happened. And Professor French and Professor Chowdhury here and myself, three of us, we decided to run a new studio called Archiving the Times. And this is to understand what has been the impact of pandemic on our society. And our group of students studied the history of the pandemic from 1918 onwards and saw how it was evolving, what was it doing to the society at large, how was the society responding. We mapped out the neighborhoods to understand the sociology of people at this particular juncture. We also mapped out small businesses to see what's happening to the economy. These are ways of actually using the context to create very unique interdisciplinary learning opportunities. This is how you become better. This is how you become deep. This is how you develop insights about things that are around you, and which is very important, because this context is going to be crucial when you start to study the concepts that are required. For all you know, all the economics that you studied in class 12, many of those concepts will be invalidated 2 years down the road, because this world will run on very different kind of economic principles. The financial models and the business models that you studied in your business studies class might turn out to be very different in terms of how the society and the businesses and the organizations are going to get shaped. Imagine for a moment, all of you those of you who've done a business study or a commerce class must have studied what an organization is. It comprises of people, facilities, processes, systems that deliver goods and services. What happens if most companies around the world, and it's already starting to happen, say for next 3 years, you please work from home. There's no office, there's no colleague. It's all online like this one for you. The entire world will have to readjust to developing relationships between all of us who are on this tile board of our screens, and build very different kind of organizational relationships to be able to deliver goods and services. So the world is going to change, and education is going to respond in a very, very strong way. Technology is going to play a very important role as the pandemic kind of starts to recede, especially for public service delivery. It's already happening that goods are being now delivered contactless straight from the farm onto your houses. The middlemen or the intermediaries that existed across supply chains are starting to slowly vanish. At one level, supply chains become very, very efficient. At another level, it creates very new challenges on employment. So look at what's happening. There's operations, there's economy, there's agriculture, all tying together into creating a question for which many of us don't have answers today. That is what education is about. Education in these times is about looking at the context around us and trying to understand them deeply, and developing new concepts and new theories and new ways of addressing. I work in the area of manufacturing and supply chain, and I many times wonder what would be the value of inventory in this very uncertain environment. It's a question I don't have answer for. How do I price inventories at this particular juncture? These are questions that you will face in your classrooms. These are very, very real issues around society. What happens to the marginal workforce that left cities? What happens to the society at large? What happens to companies? How should a government respond? What is democracy or the state of governance in the 21st century starting now onwards? These are very open questions that have been thrown at us by this immense disruption in our lives. In one ways, you're very unlucky that your life has been disrupted. But in one ways, you're very fortunate that you are seeing the unfolding of an event which actually, I hope, doesn't happen for another hundreds of years to come. And you will grow tremendously out of that process. So see this as an opportunity. See this context, which is very complex. Every time when I try to understand what's going to happen tomorrow, I'm really at a loss. There's darkness in front of me. There's uncertainty around me. But we must understand, every step of the way, we must understand why things are happening, how to make them better, what are new ways of thinking through, what are some orthogonal ways in which we can find newer solutions. The other day, we had a very interesting conversation on healthcare. And one of the speakers said something phenomenal. And it was so simple. We were talking about hospitals not having enough beds and ventilators or oxygen tanks for people who are affected by the virus. And he said, we should look at societies, residential societies in which we live, a part of it as places where, which can be quarantined with facilities where people who are not very sick can be actually kept. And I thought, what a fabulous idea. Imagine if every facility, every hotel, every workshop, every place has few rooms which can be turned into an infirmary, where really very early on we can give immediate support, some oxygen, and people can go back home very quickly and not need to go to a hospital. These are very innovative thoughts, innovative ways in which society collectively has to come and address. This is education. This involves physics, and it involves sociology, it involves anthropology, it involves history, it involves everything that you and I are going to college to learn and teach. This is education. And if you do it, wherever you go, whichever university you go, keep that at the back of your mind. If you go with an open mind to make the most out of it, learn the most, you will come out on the other side when you graduate very differently thinking people. And I think that's my wish for you. I hope you all will be very differently thinking people who will change this world, because this world really depends on your innovativeness, on your way of thinking very differently. My generation and many others ahead of me, actually, we've created enough mess and created enough stereotypical ways of thinking. And I hope you will show us a pathway moving forward. Now, coming to university education, here are my 4 or 5 comments that I want to make to you. Don't shortchange yourself today for the future. There are many of you who may have been choosing to go out of town to study at a university, whichever that might be. And then suddenly this pandemic comes and you must be worried. Should I stay back in my own city, or should I go to another one, which might be, there may be risks and here and there. Don't shortchange yourself. Don't shortchange the 4 years for the 6 to 8 months of pain. Go where you want to go. Go where your destiny is going to take you. These 6 months or 8 months are just aberration. So don't change your plans just because somebody comes and tells you, you know what, we're going to teach you online. Everybody is going to learn online for the next few months. But 6 to 8 months down the road, this darkness will lift and you will be back on the campuses of your choice. So keep that at the back of your mind. Don't give up your plans of going where you think, the university that you think is best for you. I must point 2 or 3 other things that are happening. Most universities, definitely us, we are changing many of our policies, our curriculum, our way of teaching, our courses very dramatically. Teaching online is not the same as teaching in the classroom. For last 3 months, we've been running online classes for our existing students. So we've been experimenting. We've done lots of experiments to see what works and what does not work through this online mode. A teacher coming and talking for 75 minutes, it's absolutely boring. It's pathetic. I'll go to sleep if somebody kind of goes that way. We've been completely recasting every course and recasting them in terms of how we should teach online. What should be the right pedagogy? What is the mix of a flipped classroom and a conversation and discussion and doing that makes this online come a little bit alive for us? So policies are changing, curriculum is changing, people are learning much, much more as they go along in order to in order to make sure that your learning is of the highest order. And we also recognize that I don't know what will happen to CBSE decision tomorrow, but we're all waiting as much as you are waiting. Those of you writing CBSE have written CBSE or the ICSE exams, but whatever happens, we are accepting students from all boards, and we're going to start our classes irrespective of whether your results from class 12th have come or not. So if you get admitted to Ahmedabad University, you start your classes on time and your results will follow. And I think that is the way we are going to handle this very unusual situation that all of us find ourselves in. And this is actually thinking for you. I think our thoughts are constantly for you. Now, what is it that at Ahmedabad that we're going to do in addition to some of the things that I've just mentioned? Our classes will begin in August for the first years. We've decided that we will start, all our admissions are on, everything is gone online for the last 3 months. And we're closing our admissions very rapidly. And we will start our classes in August. That's point number one. Point number two, we will start our classes online in August. We are not bringing anybody onto the campus until unless we are safe, we are very sure that everybody is safe. By the way, we've already opened our campus for our doctoral students and faculty. So our labs are open, people are working, but we have put a very stringent SOP, a plan for physical distancing. Our campus has been broken into 20 zones. And we are ensuring that people don't move from one zone to another. This very strong sanitizing and distancing and all of that we are now practicing, so that over the next 2-3 months, when this campus starts to open, actually we are top of the game here. So we'll start online, and we will see when the situation over the next semester, which is the monsoon semester for us that lasts between August and December, when is it safe to bring our students in? And whenever they come in, we are going to bring them very gingerly in a limited way, with very strict protocols on safety. Same in our university residences and hostel. And we will actually ensure that large classes are broken into small, so that people can take advantage of being in a class, but at the same time at a distance. Yet, we've also taken a decision that still, if there's somebody from out of town who feels uncomfortable to come to the campus and study on campus, when we open, then we will provide the facility for them to study online till the time they feel it is comfortable for them to come to campus. So whenever we open, we're not going to make it mandatory for students to come in. We will love to have everybody in, but if there's somebody from out of town who is concerned that I don't want to go from my city to Ahmedabad to study, just because you don't know what will happen, then stay there, do some courses online with us, and continue doing that till end of the semester, till you feel very comfortable, and then you come in. So that's our plan. If the situation turns out that this pandemic is not subsiding and we're not in control, then there's a likelihood that we'll continue to do it online for the entire semester until December. So that's how we've kind of developed our own plans, developed our strategy on the campus, changed the way we are going to teach, built mental health, safety all in mind in terms of balancing how we can educate our kids to the best of possible manner in a relatively less traumatic, very comfortable kind of way. One other thing I must mention that, and this has been our experience, I'm sure those of you who were also doing classes during the last couple of months would have experienced it. This technology is still not up to the mark. And I think shared internet at homes have not worked. Internet packages which is shared by siblings and family and everybody creates enormous challenges on the bandwidth. So we will require everybody to come in with a laptop. We are requiring people to have independent, separate internet packages, and we are supporting people around it, those who need support for it as we kind of go along. So that's our plan. I want to leave you really with a feeling of hope and a feeling that there are a large number of people here in Ahmedabad and across the country who are actually worrying about you. Who are worrying about your education, who are worrying about your safety, who are worrying about your mental health, who are worrying that you should actually get the highest quality education, despite the fact that this year is going to be disrupted because of a very major challenge before us. So my best wishes to you, and I hope you will do things that will make your dreams come true. Thank you very much. What I'm going to do now,
Chandra.
Thanks, Hansa. Hand it over to you.
So I think thank you for clarifying that there is a road ahead for students to be able to balance not only their health, but also their education. These are really exceptional measures that the university is taking to say, in case you are not comfortable coming onto campus, even if campuses are open, you can actually have the flexibility to continue till you and your parents are comfortable and secure that it's the right time for you to come back. I'm now going to request Mr. B.M. Shah, who is our registrar and has been with the university for many, many years, having taken it through, I'm sure, different periods, to perhaps share a few thoughts on how he sees this period playing out. I must tell you that he is a very, reassuring person to be in touch with, and I'm sure he has the road chalked out for the university and for us. BM Bhai? Muted.
Maybe
Could you
I
just
can
check?
Yeah.
He has the control for my mic. So
Okay.
if I pick up from where Pankaj be left, I think yes, there is a hope. There are promises also, and he has very rightly said that it is your choice wherever you want to go. But if you are convinced about what Ahmedabad University is and what are our plans, I'm sure you might have some concerns, some issues also before you finally decide about Ahmedabad. And that could be around what we are, who we are, what kind of university we have, which are the people behind university, what are our resources, what is the fee structure, what is the cost structure, and what support we give. So let me have a few doubts cleared about this and set the background, and then if there are still questions, I can address that. Hansa said that let me also say about how do I feel it. Only yesterday, Hansa, we had the first round, the orientation with the first batch of 250 students, and also around 140 plus parents in the evening. And let me share that none of them have any concerns about coming to Ahmedabad University. Although Pankaj has rightly clarified that there are issues. But once you decide about going to a place, and it's like this is Ahmedabad University, and we are all there to help you support, stabilize. We feel that once you are here, it's going to be a home away from home. So coming to some of the issues, let me tell you that we are a state-private university, as Pankaj rightly said, by Ahmedabad Education Society, which is 80 years plus old institution. Some of the known names are, I think, those who are from within Gujarat, HL Commerce College, MD Science, the first pharmacy college of the country, SEPT University. So those are the institutions which are run and managed by Education Society. This society has created a corpus of around 1,000 crore. See, why I say that? Because people might feel that we are a private university, the fee structure would be high. But let me tell you that fee is only to take care of the revenue cost. The entire infrastructure which is being built over the last 4 years, and then we are going to have many more facilities. It's all going to come from the corpus created by the society. And also, let me tell you that society is a huge land bank. So, for next, I would say another 50 years, whatever institutions we want to build, whatever infrastructure we want to create, we have a great amount of comfort from the sponsoring body. Another important point you should all know that this is a place where the admissions are purely based on merit. We call it means blind merit based. So there is no management quota, none to all. There is no NRI quota, there is no management seat. All the seats at Ahmedabad University are purely on merit and merit. So whosoever find place must complement for his own self, and the family also should feel that, yes, my kid is going to this university solely and solely on the basis of merit. There could be issues about hostel. Yes, we are planning to create 4 towers of 14 floors, which is going to take a couple of years. But meanwhile, we have lined up a very good hostel facilities. We take care of all the facilities there, including safety, including their healthcare, including the Wi-Fi and availability, the transportation, good quality food, and to ensure that there is no terror on any kind of student. We have a zero tolerance. There is no ragging case whatsoever for the last 10, 11 years that we are. So student and the parents should never feel slightly concerned about their being over here. I think they should feel that they are in the safer hands. We have a very good wellness center, and we know what kind of issues the student might feel. Many times I know, because I'm here since inception, there are cases where even parents don't know, they are not aware about the concerns, the mood changes, and the psyche of the student, which our faculty and our team know very well. And then we try to plug that kind of weaknesses very in advance. And I might say that some of the cases are there where many times we see that they have a suicidal tendency. But sometimes the friends even don't know. But because of the center that we have, because of the comfort level that we create, we have students, they come forward and tell us what kind of concerns they have, what kind of anxiety they have. And I must tell you that we have been able to correct all those cases well in time. So this is the place where I must tell Ansa that the parents should not have a slightest doubt about the safety and wellness of the kid over here. As Pankaj has rightly said, and this education is not typical education which one would find in any university. I have a large family, several brothers, sisters, and relatives, and every year I have half a dozen members from my family. And I must tell you that end of third or fourth year, once the student is out, the entire family feel that the boy or girl has been completely transformed. It is not only the degree that they have, the kind of personality they have created, the kind of character that they have built is uncomparable. And that's the reason I must tell you that in Gujarat, we are the first choice. It's the first destination, both for the parents and the students. So, of course, this comes straight from my own experience. So that's the reason you should have full confidence in whatever we say. We have excellent team. Thanks to efforts of all of us, we have large number of members who have international exposure, and that is going to be one of our strengths. I must tell you that we are also now applying to Government of Gujarat as Center of Excellence, which is going to give us full freedom. So when it comes to the autonomy, it's a full autonomy, whether it is financial autonomy, whether it's academic autonomy, it is operational autonomy. We had no bosses on us. We are the people who decide what is the base that we should do for students. So with that word of confidence, with that assurance, I invite you one and all to Ahmedabad University. Whether you join or not is a different thing. But seeing is believing. When you see the infrastructure, when you see the place, where the heart of the city, you can see the kind of facilities which we have created and the schemes and the processes that we have set up for the students. We always say that our university has student centricity. All of us are over here, with faculty, the management, the team, everything is for students. So that's the final word from me. And so if there are any questions, I will be willing to address those questions. But this is something I'm sure will reinstill the confidence both among students and parents. If they are worried about sending their kid, don't worry. We are there to take care of all of them. Thank you.
Thank you, BM Bhai.
Bunch of questions which are starting to come already.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Pankaj, would you like to take?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of them are things perhaps you should answer, which says, when will our admission get confirmed? Or it's saying,
I'm happy to take that offline. I will be sharing my number.
Yeah, I think, and anything related to admissions, and I see a couple of questions there, which are about them. Maybe you can directly call our Director of Admissions, Hansa Sachdev, send her an email, and she'll be very happy to answer. And also question about when will the interviews be held. I think she's the right person to answer this question. You send her an email and an SMS, and she'll respond to you. There's a question which says, what's your perspective on how interdisciplinarity will help shape up an individual to tackle the rising problems of the world? Okay, this is from Dinesh Kumar Arumugam. Dinesh, one the big characteristics of wicked problems is their complexity. I mean, take any complex problem. Take a problem like water. Take a problem like transportation. Take a problem like health. And so imagine for a moment that you are, you've just finished your bachelor's in sociology and you get a job with Gates Foundation. And you go to work with an NGO in, let's say, rural Bihar on a public health project. And let's say this project is around developing mechanisms for sharing of water in a village, which is a very standard problem, isn't it? Almost everybody faces this problem. It's a very complex problem. Now, suddenly, you are actually thrown into an environment where you need to do many things. You need to understand, is water a private property or is it a common good? Who owns water? Does the government own water? Does the society own water? Does the guy under whose land this water table lies own water? You'll actually need to understand how do you, if water is there, how do you distribute and price it? How do you take water from a certain area which is arsenic filled? How do you get it cleaned up and distribute it? How do you get people to share the water and ration it? These are questions that you'll be asked to address. Now, imagine the kind of disciplines that are coming. You need to know a little bit of law about the rules, regulations, what the Constitution says. You need to know a little bit of economics. You need to definitely know about sociology and psychology so that you can convince people and negotiate with them the right of sharing of water. You need to know a little bit of technology to be able to talk to people who will actually go and get this arsenic removed from this particular location. This is interdisciplinarity. this is exactly what this world requires. Complex problems require looking at a problem from a variety of different angles. And what interdisciplinary education does, it allows you to become holistic and complete in terms of the kind of questions that you are. You might not have answers for all of them, because you can't be an expert in history and sociology and economics and law all at the same time. But you can learn to ask the right questions. You can learn to go to the right people who have answers for these kind of questions. That is interdisciplinarity. That is trying to understand a problem from a variety of different angles, and it enriches you. And hence, in times like these, which are very complex, very uncertain, such education is probably most valuable. Okay, somebody, there's a question on, is it possible to visit the campus on Saturday if safety measures are taken? You might. We will see how this pans out over the next month. But if it turns out that we can make it safe for you to come, then we'd love to have you over. What is the criteria for admissions? I think this is something you must direct towards Hansa. So it says, is AU good for hardcore research? By the way, we don't know what is AU. Is it Allahabad University or Andhra University or many of the new AUs all over the world? We're just Ahmedabad. We're Ahmedabad University. So is Ahmedabad University good for hardcore research in the field of biology? I'm totally inclined towards it. Wow. You know what? I think you'll love our biology. This is our top program, and especially research-wise. Our top program with absolutely top-end faculty. One of the things that we really have to showcase is our faculty. And they come with PhDs from some of the best places in the country and best places around. And I invite you to go look at the backgrounds on the website. And so, yes, you can get involved in research right from day one, working with a faculty member. And our structure of the curriculum is very interdisciplinary, so you cannot escape that. But you will get to do deep research there. Then there's a question that, does Ahmedabad accept admission through good set only if the boards aggregate to? Good set we use only for purposes of engineering education through ACPC. Rest of the time, we have our own admission process, as some of you may have found out, which involves looking at grades from class 10th and 11th and 12th, looking at doing a personal interview with you, looking at your extracurricular and co-curricular achievements, looking at your personal statement, and trying to understand whether we can add value to you or not. If your aspirations are such that we can't help you, then I think we'll advise you go to a different place. Whether your fit with us is good or not, whether you will add value to your other classmates coming in, those are things that we look for in our admission process. What kind of a citizen are you? What role will you play in enhancing the quality of education? And these are things that we look into our admission. Is it possible to visit? Okay, that I have answered. What will be the fee structure if the education continues? The fee structure remains the same. Mind you, the people who teach you and the resources put behind you don't change. It's the same set of faculty. It's the same story. In fact, technology costs only go up. So just for your benefit, the cost will, fee will remain the same. Says, what is exams get cancelled and student get marks on the uniform grading system? We are all going to wait and watch, and we're going to do things which benefit you. So rest assured that whatever decision your boards take in terms of what kind of marks they would give, or what kind of best of 5 or best of 6, or whatever it is, we will be very compassionately and empathetically actually doing things that will benefit you. Says, when will I get admission to the university? When will the interviews be held? Which field is best in psychology? I've decided to do clinical. Okay, you must apply as of now. And if you have already applied, this is iPhone saying this. But you'll hear from us definitely. You can rest assured that you will hear from us. And which field of psychology? Don't jump into it. Our belief is that at 18, most people don't know what they want to do. They actually do things because their parents tell you to do something, or your friends are doing those kind of things. So you think that stuff is exciting. Very few people know what they exactly want to do. And we want you to discover. We want to discover your passion after you come to the university, after you've taken some courses. Make up your mind at that juncture whether clinical is good for you, or whether social is good for you, or whether cognitive science is better for you. Okay? And you have that flexibility to be able to change your discipline, change your major, do many other things. That's the advantage of Ahmedabad. I'm not sure how exactly to ask this question. All right, you've already asked. My name is Riva. How do you feel being educated and being empathetic go hand in hand, especially in the current age of pandemic? Can education help you to gain more empathy about the world in the current scenario? What a fabulous question, Riva. I think this is one of the most wonderful question that I've heard in a very, very long time. And education's purpose is to build compassion. Education's purpose is to be able to understand what the marginalized and those who are underserved are not getting. Its purpose is to make you a better citizen. And if it does that, then I think you are educated. I don't give a damn about a grade point that you get. You are educated. You have the right set of values, you have the right heart, your mind and heart are at the right place. And that's all what is needed. Just to tell you, Riva, we have a program. Part of our undergraduate requirement is volunteerism. We call it mandatory volunteerism. What a interesting anachronistic combination. But where our students spend about a semester working with this larger society. And the purpose is exactly what you're raising, to help you understand how less privileged others are compared to us, and why we should be compassionate, and why we should be engaged in serving others, and to make the society much better. Great question. Okay. Then what is the USP of this university? I've already been talking about it, Yash. I think we make you a better person through interdisciplinarity, through flexibility in your choice of courses, programs, through experiential learning, and through research questioning. That is how we build courage. That's how we build honest people. And that's how we build very bright people who will go change the world. That's what our students do. They go to the best of places to do graduate studies globally and in India. The last, a month ago, the topper of the MBA program at IIM Bangalore was our undergrad. A few years ago, the topper at IIM Ahmedabad was our undergrad. They go to great places, to Stanford, to Columbia, to all great places around the world. And they go and do startups. They go take jobs in good corporations and companies. But most important, they actually do well. They go, they take initiatives, they work hard, they're honest, they help others. Those are what the characteristic of our students are. How much does Ahmedabad University expose the students to the culture of the city? We are in the city. Actually, we are the city. Ahmedabad is in our name. So we are the city. Within a 15-minute radius you have phenomenal resources. You have all theaters, you have museums, you have art galleries, you have dance and drama places, you have cafes, and you have picture halls, you have malls, you have everything within 15-minute radius. This is actually where life is. I mean, if I were you, I wouldn't miss it. Does Ahmedabad take his training and placement? Yes, we have a very good career development center, which actually helps students with internships, grooms people, provides them with support and aptitude towards jobs, and brings companies over to the campus for placement. What percentage can I get admission after person? I have no clue whatsoever. I can't tell you anything because not for any other reason. I don't know. Hansa wouldn't tell me. Okay, then I've sent my mark sheet. When will I get mail for PI? You'll again, Hansa has already put her phone number up there, 7011356664. And you can call her or write to her and she'll answer those. Then if the education is online, how will the clubs and extracurricular continue? Fabulous question. You know, they're all operational. Every day there's things happening. There's music club doing, there's photography club taking pictures and doing exhibitions. Other than the fact where physical activity is involved, which is sports for a moment, and some others, field work, I think everything is on, and you'll be very, very active and busy. Does Ahmedabad University allow taking notes digitally? Answer yes. How long we get an option to study online or to do study from hometown? You know, as of now, our feeling is that you can stay as long as you feel comfortable. But we definitely, if we open up, we definitely like you to come and join us as soon as possible. But if you're not comfortable, continue from there. What are the chances of doing a PhD from a great institution? All right. Well, you know, many of our kids have gone to do masters and PhD at great places. If you do academically very well, and you're at the top of the class, and you are you're doing many interesting things on campus, you will get into some of these programs, and you're focused about it. You know, you need to know why you want to do a PhD. If you do, by all means. Then when will you get to know when you're selected? Actually, we've already been admitting students. We've started our orientation. For our admitted students, yesterday we completed our first orientation and did a parents orientation and everything. So depending on when you have applied, you'll get to hear. If you've applied long time ago and you've not heard back from us, which means that you perhaps are going to be considered in the last round later. So be patient. It'll come. Which is better between BCom or BBA? You know what? I think we don't think in terms of BCom or BBA. We think in terms of majors. You should ask a question: what is it that you want to study? Do you want to study marketing? Do you want to study accounting? Do you want to study finance? Do you want to study finance and economics? Or maybe you want to study history? You know, I think in those terms. That's important. What is your passion? What is it where you will give your best? By the way, all of them have great employability potential. Whether you're doing a BBA, whether you're doing a BA, whether you're doing BSc, all our programs have courses that build strong skills. So it doesn't stop you from doing a BA in history or social and political studies, sciences, and then wanting to say, I want to go do masters in law, or I want to go work for a bank, oh, I want to go somewhere else, because then by then you are much better prepared to make those decisions. So we don't think in terms of degrees. We think in terms of majors. If my merit is less, I'm interested in honors. You know, our arts program is, by the way, very, very cutting edge. Whether you're doing social and political sciences, or whether you're doing philosophy, history, and language, whether you're doing economics or psychology, the kids coming to us are really at top of the class. So unlike institutions, public institutions, where if you don't get admitted anywhere, you go do BA, that's not the case with us. Kids come to do BA to us because they want to study arts. They want to study humanities and social sciences. We also have a provision of doing minors. So you can do a major in history and you can do a minor in management. You can do a major in biology and do a minor in computer science. You can do a major in psychology and do a minor in biology. So it helps you. This is interdisciplinarity, by the way. This is what helps you build a broader perspective, which will allow you, actually imagine somebody who does major in biology and minor, say, in computer science, and goes to work for a pharma company. Or an engineer who's doing a BTech in mechanical engineering and then goes and does a minor in biology and goes to work for a pharma company or an IT company and does projects around pharmaceutical. My God, how cutting edge you would be. You'd just be actually picked up like nobody's business. That's the power of these disciplines. By the way, all our degrees are honors degrees, except BTech. Every degree is honor. Everybody has to do a thesis or a capstone project. Okay, why is it that I can't? One question here. My God, there are 41 new messages, but let me read them. Should I follow my passion or my father's choice? Because my father wants me to become a doctor, but I'm interested in BBA. If your father is there, let me talk to your father and convince him that your father should allow you to do what you want to do. I think it's very important that you go and follow your heart, because you will then do the best that you can be. By the way, your father, I'm sure, has good reasons for telling you to become doctor. So do listen to him. Do consider that. Get to understand what a BBA leads to, and then you make a choice collectively what is good for you. My joke is that the first degree in my generation was for the parents. The second degree was for a job, and it is the third degree for your soul. Now, in your generation, I would like your first, second, and third all to be for the soul. So go convince your dad, tell him what you want to do, and he'll allow you to do it. Don't worry. Okay. Then what is the best thing in Ahmedabad? Oh, everything is good about Ahmedabad University. What can I tell you? Is this pandemic really affecting the placement of students after post-graduation? So the answer is, at this juncture, very honestly, yes. Because the economy around us is changing very, very dramatically. But we've done something very exciting. We've actually created opened up our placement services to our students who have graduated, even after graduation. We said, we will keep helping you till the time you find a job. Second, we've also actually allowed them to stay back at the university and defer their graduation till they find a job and take skill-based courses. So they now become much better equipped and they become more competitive. We've also we are going to offer postgraduate certificates and diploma in several different disciplines for our graduates and those from other universities to come and stay and build additional skills and abilities for the future of work that's going to emerge when this pandemic gets over. So the question is not that how it's going to get affected. The question is, how are we rejigging and making our system resilient enough and prepare our students so very well that they can find options even in those very tough times. So it says, so question is more specifically asking that will the August classes be open for students who have submitted their applications, or will they be open for students that are confirmed? I think it will be open for anybody who we give either complete admission or conditional admission. Am I right, Hansa? In saying that? Okay. And you please tell me when you would like me to stop, because there are lots of questions. I know you have other sessions, but we can actually, whenever you want me to stop, I'll stop and we can take them and answer them offline and post them to all the members. That also we could do.
I think, Pankaj, perhaps we should do that, because I'm getting a steady stream of questions which are very discipline specific, related to life sciences, related to engineering. There is one that I would like you to weigh in on, which is that in case the boards, or for that matter, JEE or GUJSET, do not actually provide scores or grades this year, what would our approach be in the event that there is actually no announcement of results or there is no grade specified? Clearly, none of us know at this point what the government, what the CBSE, what JEE will do. But just to take forward your point about giving the maximum possible opportunity to students, I thought if you could share a few words on that.
Right. Well, you know what? I mean, this is loud thinking that we are doing at this particular moment. But one is they will give something. They'll give marks. They'll, for the courses that you have, for which you've already appeared for the exam, they may not give you a full grade score, and we will take them and calibrate them with your 10th and 11th scores and see how best we are able to come up with an ability for you to make it. Now, one thing we do recognize that there may be a situation that your final class 12 score is over or below a certain specified expectation that we have when we give you conditional admission. And I think we will have to take a call on a case-by-case basis if it falls below, to see what we do. We don't want to be in a situation where we admit somebody who we think will not be able to do well and succeed in our system. We're more concerned about that part of it. And if we are convinced somehow that you will cope up with our rigorous academic environment, then we'll look at it at a case-by-case basis and see what happens. So at this juncture, it is not clear how we are going to handle this.
Another quick question. I mean, this really relates to, what is the USP of the university. The question is about whether a student would have the possibility of interacting with deans across disciplines, faculty across disciplines. And I thought that I should say at this point that a student who's admitted to Ahmedabad University is actually admitted to the university as a whole and is not restricted by school or degree or program. Pankaj, would you like to add to that?
Yes.
Or would any of the deans want to
Yes. You know, you may have made a choice that you want to do BBA or you want to do IMSc, but we provide you with flexibility to be able to change your major, your degree from one to another. Now, to do that, we evaluate you as a candidate for the university, which means that you are fit to go into any of our programs on the campus. That's an evaluation that we do. And if we find that you have that kind of a capability and you have that ability to do so, then we admit you. And then we give you the freedom to kind of move around and explore. Now, the only thing where you can't move into is engineering, because admission to engineering at Ahmedabad University and every other institution in Gujarat is controlled through the Gujarat government's ACPC process. But you can definitely move out of engineering and do something else in case that's where your passion lies. But you have immense flexibility there.
Could I ask Dean French to come in on this one as well? There is a specific question which asks whether there is a process for majors and minors at the university and in humanities. Dr. Patrick French?
It's probably not there, stepped out, but could you repeat the question once again, Hansa?
The process for selecting majors and minors at the university and for humanities.
Okay, so let me answer that for you. First, I must tell you, our humanities and social sciences program, which means the BA program, is really cutting edge. They're most innovative, very contemporary, very, very top of the line, and taught by actually people who've done their PhDs from some of the best places around the world. So I think if you're coming into a BA program, you are absolutely going to get a cracking of our education as you would get in any university anywhere in the world. It's also a program which is very strongly linked to employability as well. You know, there are kids who will go and do masters and PhD, but there will be kids who will go do professional management. They may do MBA after doing a BBA, a BA, or they may do a master's in some other discipline, depending on what they like. By the way, many of our kids from BBA and commerce go and do other disciplines in masters. They'll do public health, they'll do law, they will do communications. So masters is a very different level altogether. Now, how do you make choices on majors? You know, we have you sit down with the dean, associate deans, you have a program chair of the BA program, you have major advisors, which means every major in humanities, PHL or economics or sociology, social and political sciences or psychology or history, all of them have a faculty advisor, and they sit down with you. They'll explain to you what the major is about. They'll explain, understand your interest, and they'll guide you whether that's the best major for you, depending on your interest. And they'll continue to do that all the 4 years that you're here with us. And same with the minor. You know, you suppose you want to do a minor, you do a major in history and you want to do a minor in psychology. You go to the advisor, major advisor in psychology, and find out what does it take to do a minor in psychology. And we have organized fairs during the year where the faculty come and talk to the students about courses, about majors, about minors, and explain to you what are opportunities beyond once you finish your degree. And that helps you in making those choices.
Pankaj, I'm going to come in right now because again, I'm seeing a lot of questions that relate to particular disciplines. I think Dr. Patrick French and Dr. Sanjay Chaudhary have moved into the breakout rooms, and they would be happy to take specifics related to humanities as well as engineering. In this room, we have Dr. Parag Patel and Dr. Devanath Tirupati. Dr. Tirupati is the Dean of the Amrut Modi School of Management. And again, there are specific questions that are coming in related to that. Those of you who would like to know more about humanities and sciences may join Dr. French. Meeting links to join the breakout sessions have been shared with you. Those of you who have specific queries related to engineering could exit this room and join Dr. Sanjay Chaudhary. The various links have all been shared with you. And those who are interested in commerce and management may remain in this room. In addition to that, of course, much like the philosophy of the university, if you feel that you are in two minds, you want to know about economics, but also marketing, you're most welcome to navigate between the two rooms and try and understand what is the process we follow, how we work in terms of ensuring that you have flexibility to actually take your education forward. So, Pankaj.
Thanks very much. I'm going to sign off here, and good luck to all of you.
Pankaj, thank you so much for being here.
Okay, bye-bye.
DM Bhai, I'm now going to hand over to Dr. Tirupati and to Dr. Patel. So for those of you who would like to know about our management programs, please remain in this room. Dr. Tirupati will be addressing you and he will be available